Exactly.
Yeah, that's why he was a
Yeah,
national
exactly.
security threat. Brother Exodus, give us your short story. What got you on the started your knowledge of self?
Um, what started it? Wow. Solitary confinement. Right.
Yeah.
Like the brother was saying, Cypher my good brother, you got to look at yourself first. That you
Mm-hmm.
knowledge of self. Our ancestors put it on the doorway of the tomb of the universities thousands of years ago. Know thyself. It's
Mm-hmm.
the most important thing. Um, so using some time to ask myself, how did I get here? Like, what am I doing here? It's like a cage. Like I'm in a cage by myself in the dark. So that was a great place to find myself and ask why and look deeply and reflect upon myself. And over the years, running into good brothers um,
Yes, sir.
who taught you things that you didn't know. And I've met brothers from all walks, Nation of
That's
Islam,
right.
Moorish Science
Yes,
Temple,
that's right.
Christians, Buddhists, like
That's
all kind
right.
of people, you know, trying to better themselves. So, and it's no regrets. I, being able to have that time, like we have time, lots of time. They say
Yeah.
lockdown, lockdown. It's like, okay, we got all these books right here. Let me just read as a man thinketh.
Yes.
You
That's
know,
right.
That's
Right.
right?
good.
Uh, Miseducation of the Negro,
Right.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, it's
Yeah.
just so many books,
So
and
many.
it's so
Yeah.
many. So, and being able to share that with, especially the younger individuals, I just gave a young brother that I'm mentoring message to the people by the right excellent Marcus Mosiah Garvey, and I just to see let him start to absorb that as a young person,
That's good.
and so that's where it started with me. It's like it being in solitary confinement for a long time, and it was an opportunity for me to reflect on myself. There's nobody around. There's nobody to say anything to. It's like there's me and me. So that's how it started. Yeah.
That's good.
Right. So
Hmm.
and the brother and said Ross Exodus. So you settled in with the Rastafaris. I know you said you
Yeah,
walked around and
Rastafari.
yeah,
Yeah.
Rastafari.
That's
Yeah,
that's what worked for me.
beautiful people.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah,
works for
beautiful
me.
people. I
I've been
had
around,
I s-
but
yeah.
that's what works for me.
Yeah.
I said along plenty. I said in plenty of Rasta circles.
Hmm.
Started with a nation of gods and earths.
Yes.
Um,
Yeah. Yeah.
We
Yeah.
build with them
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
For
I
Yeah.
sure.
said,
That's our
yeah,
brother,
you
Yeah,
man.
know,
those are our brothers.
I,
Yes, I.
I was in the temple, the MSTA.
Yes, I. Good.
Yeah,
Yes, I.
so just being around. But one thing I did find out that the core of it is all the same, and it all runs you right back to the comedic science.
That's
Of
right. That's
course.
Yeah,
right.
so
That's right.
and then brother Cypher Dean, what started you on your journey to liberation and your spiritual development?
So my journey, all right, it's deep because
We were children.
we were children. So
Yep.
I did 18.5 years in the penitentiary. Right?
Yeah,
I got locked up when I was 17. I came home when I was 36 and a half. Maybe 37, something like that. But it was 18 and a half years.
yeah,
I originally had I had 60-year sentence. I'm gonna say at 17 I had I went to trial. Me, five other co-defendants. I I had a mistrial. Another co-defendant had a mistrial. All the rest of them was acquitted. Then we went back. Me and the other co-defendant we went back to trial again. Then I got convicted. But I was facing life sentence. I ended up getting found guilty and got sentenced to 60 years in prison, right? And did 18 and a half years. So when I got in, I was never a bad kid, right? When I think about it, I just wasn't going for nothing.
Right.
You know, I had a warrior spirit. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't have that mentorship or that guidance that I should have had to direct that energy.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That's strong and that's solid. Like we need more men in the family that can do that because I never had that. You know what I'm saying? I just had the hood where we grew up, and my idols and my mentors were the dudes that were a little older than me that was hanging out, holding, doing the riffraff, right? And I remember when as soon as I got in, I was a knucklehead. I was getting into stuff, all that stuff, fighting and stabbing and fighting and getting stabbed and all that stuff. Just, I wasn't going for training, working out, tip top shape, doing 600-700 push ups in an hour and all that. I was really in my mind. I'm trained. I'm getting ready, right, right. And I remember one particular incident where, and even though like I said, I was a good kid. I didn't start anything, but if you brought it to me, you gave me an excuse to let this lion out the cage, right? Because I'm geeking for it, right? And so, one particular incident, I got into something, and it wasn't even about me, because I don't steal. One of my homeboys, and I that's another thing I had. I'm very loyal, but at that point in my life, I was loyal to a default, right? So one of my homies at that time was trying to rob a dude for his shoes. He didn't tell me all that, right? He just came to me and said, "Hey man, dude trying to fight me, this and that. Woo, all right, man, let's go." Right? So long thing short, long story short, I ended up getting in an altercation with that dude, right? And I ended up hurting him really bad. So I ended up getting locked down, and I'm sitting in the cell by myself. It's not even my beef, right? and the sergeant in the institution said, "Hey man, that guy had to go to the hospital. If he don't make it, that's your charge. You know that, right?" I said, "Man, I ain't do nothing. I don't know what you're talking about." Right? So after he left, I get down. I'm thinking, I'm praying. Then a voice came to me. It's like, "Yo, Anton, if you don't change, you're never gonna get out of here, or you're gonna die in here.
Right.
You gonna live old and die in here, or you gonna live young and mess around and get yourself. You're gonna die in here that way. You gotta change. So what you want to do?" And I was like, "I'm gonna change." I said, "You know what? I'm gonna be like Malcolm X." And I did my time in the hole. When I came back out, I did a radical revolutionary change.
Yeah.
Cut all my so-called associates and friends that wasn't about nothing.
Yep.
I'm going over here. I started studying. Started talking to all the elders that was on the nation of gods on earth, the nation of Islam, the Rasta brothers, the Christian brothers, and then the Sunni brothers. And all of them was giving me Jews, giving me books, this and that. And I was like one of them, like a kid in a candy store for knowledge. I just kept coming back. I had a bunch of questions and everything. And I loved the stories that they told. And I'd be like this, like a little kid with their eyes open. I love good stories, man. I love good stories. Like, that's when I used to go to Juma and brother Naeem I used to come up DC jail and do the juke. Oh my God. Man, I'd be like, I don't want to do that when I grew up. And so that's what really changed me, right? And then I just realized that you have to make that shift. You have to make that shift. So I did 18, and then I used my time while in prison to build myself up.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? In multiple ways. Skills, trades, knowledge, college, and more so self-study. Just self-study and really wanting. But it was a shift in me that had to change. And one of the things, and I want to say this for everybody out there that's listening, that's in that phase of shifting to become better. The biggest thing that helped me too is when I change what I allowed to go in my ears.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Not only did I cut out my peers that was on the BS,
Go for it.
I stopped listening to the so-called gangster music, the drill music back in those days. Because they said, oh, they got drill music today. Man, drill music back then.
Right.
Spice One.
Yeah.
Right?
I was listening to that the other day.
187, all that other crazy. They literally rapping and talking about
Yes. Yes.
awful people. So I cut all that. I don't want to hear none of that. I started listening to my Bob Marley, all conscious rap. That right, and then of course studying and reading and getting around the right circle.
Yeah.
It made a dramatic shift for me. But
Right.
we have to be careful
What we
what
consume.
we consume.
That's
Our
so
mental
true.
diet.
That's
Our
so
yeah,
true.
it's more important than our physical diet.
That's
Yes.
It's you have
That's
to.
right.
Don't keep letting people shit in your ears, man.
I think that
Yeah.
I think that if I might add that the journey started and it became more prolific as I learned our real history, not what was on television and things of that nature, but
Sure.
reading and seeing the evidence of our greatness. You know, being the original,
good.
not
That's
even
good.
knowing that because growing up in the typical education system that we have in the country, which they're trying to
Take that.
take
Take
back
that back,
now.
right.
They don't want you to know
Any of it.
anything to your greatness. Once I realized that we invented everything, medicine, science, the calendar, everything that you see, every system, everything, that's when I said, well, I need to know where my place is. Because it's not this. This is not, this can't be, right? It can't be, right?
good.
And so learning about real history,
Yeah.
about Timbuktu, about, Axum, about all the universities and all the greatness, of our ancestors, even building the pyramids in alignment with the heavens, a mirror image of the constellation on Earth, right?
Right.
See,
Come on.
that's too much right there,
Right.
because they don't want you to know your greatness, your
Yes.
power, right? And so that was fuel to continuing to learn and continuing to embrace, building with my brothers. We would just build. We would just go out there. We off the planet. We might be behind these fences and walls,
Yeah.
but we
Yep.
we
That's
we
good.
doing astral projection.
Come
We
on.
doing all types of things like that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Literally
But we
and
invented it, so
figuratively.
we
Yep.
just had to tap in.
Yep.
Yes.
Literally and figuratively. Astro projecting.
Yes,
I've
yes.
actually astro projected one time. I actually did it a few times.
I was
The first
scared. I had
time
to get back in my
scared
body.
me so bad.
Yeah.
I snapped out. I had to get back in my body. Like,
Right.
and I did it by accident, but I seen my body coming out of me, and I'm looking down at me. I said, "Oh no, no." And I woke up. I was like, "I'm gonna do that again."
It was scary.
Yeah, but yeah.
Before we move on, I would just like to, stay. I had stated earlier about these were two of my comrades from the inside. Brother Exodus was my next door neighbor for around 5 or 6 years.
60-something months.
And Brother Exodus, and I had stated this before on the show, how he's the one that inspired and encouraged me to start studying. We was in the and I'm gonna make this quick too. We was in the laundry room and doing laundry, and Brother Exodus, he said, Kip, what you do all day besides play them board games, chess, and go watch basketball, play basketball? And I looked at him, I'm like, I do it if I want to. He said, well, why don't you do something that's gonna help you and help your family? Right? And I said, well, because, I'm looking at him like, I said, this is a cool dude. Why he coming at me like that? But I said, because I do it if I want to. And then he told me about a book, Carter G. Woodson, The Miseducation of the Negro. Right? And so that night, I was in the, laying in my rack, and I said to myself, I said, he right. Why don't I do something for myself and my family? So the next morning, when they bust the doors, I said, Brother X. I said, X. I said, what's the name of that book? He said, The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson. I went to the library, got the book, started reading the book. This was in 2007, been studying every day since. After I read that book, I got the message to the black man, and then that's when I joined the Nation of Islam before I was halfway through. Then about 16 months after that is when I became comedic. And like Brother Exodus and Brother Cypherdine had spoke, we would be on the yard, we would build, and it was really a university, and because you create your world through your consciousness, right? And we all wanted to improve ourselves, and we knew that the path to improving ourselves was through the knowledge of self. Brother Exodus was head of the rosters. Brother Cypherdine was a Sunni. I started in the Nation of Islam before I became comedic and African Center. And I just always call Brother Exodus, and I thank him for that day because he planted the seed in my mind to do better. And I thought about it. I'm glad that I was receptive, because he really wasn't criticizing, but he saw something in me where he knew that if I, start training my mind that I could do something better for myself and my family and my community and humanity.
That's good.
Brother Saw, I noticed, we lived right next to each other.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
this one right next door. And I just knew that he had so much inside of him. I don't know. I was like, I thought we were gonna have to tangle in that daggone laundry room. I was like, look, I'm just trying to, I didn't want you to do something, right? But he did, and once he got started, it's like anything he locks on, once he gets on it, it's a wrap,
It's a wrap for it, yeah.
Like he had to divine mathematics in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
If it took that long.
Right.
If it took that long, right? When he started running, I did 30 laps a day.
Yeah.
30?
30 laps.
Yeah,
I ain't even did 30.
30 long laps. It
I
ain't no
used to teach
small
the
laps.
extreme running class.
How many
right?
hours was that you running? That was about a
All
couple hours.
Once he got started, once he got on it, it was over. That's just the way it is. And that's how he was able to evolve,
Yes.
like
Yes.
take the steps. He just evolved. Once he latched on, it was over. And then all the
CSSU.
CSSU was something that we thought about
Yes.
on the rail, like next door to each other. And he's
Yeah.
like, yeah, I think I'm going to do this. I was like, yeah, you can do it, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And then, wow, But it's not surprising to me. The brother is super sharp and, just a very humble and balanced
Yes.
person, And that's why, I ain't had no problem coming down. I would come down more often, but, life be life, right?
Yeah.
But, no, I was super proud. I just knew that he could do more. He was just, not doing it. And now look, it's awesome.
Right. Thank you.
We went from talking about nothing to talking about and poo.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed.
Yeah.
And Pooh, the jackal.
The
Yes,
jackal.
indeed.
Yes, the
Yeah.
balance.
Yes,
Yeah,
indeed.
so what y'all saying instead of talking about thinking about who gonna win on Saturdays and lose on Sundays? Yeah.
Right.
But yeah, that solitary time, that's really you gotta take advantage of that time. When you in there, some people I seen it turn some people the other way, but that's a whole nother conversation. But you really need to take advantage of that time and really get to know yourself.
Yeah.
And true knowledge of self, like you said, that's more than just it's what you feeding yourself, and it's
Yeah.
more than just physical foods. You got to
Yeah.
feed yourself the right knowledge.
Yeah.
If I may, before you move
Yeah.
on, because and a lot of times people think when you are sharing your experiences in prison, whether it's state or federal, that you're glorifying it, but you're not.
Nah.
You're talking about an experience that helped in your transformation.
Yeah.
Right.
That might not have ever came if we would
Yeah.
have stayed out here.
Exactly.
Because a lot of information is not really so much hitting these days, but so many distractions.
Right.
It's distractions on the inside as well. But if you can separate yourself from the distractions, right, and get with the like-minded brothers and sisters, it truly becomes a university on a whole nother level, right? And that's why we encourage brothers and sisters, while you have the time, study to improve yourself, to improve your mind, to improve your spirit. So it's never to glorify, but at the same time, understanding, how we were able to transform our lives. And, as we continue on, I'm pretty sure that the brothers will share with us, some of the things that we did as a collective whole, right? To keep high morale where we at and inspire others to gain the knowledge of self.
That's right.
Absolutely.
Yes, Doc.
Well, no, I just want to say, hey, I'm in the comfort of a lot of mobility here.
Yeah.
And you cannot say how liberating that is from us as queens out here to hear that there are brothers who are getting it right from the inside, that are using their brains and not just their body, and allowing their brains to dictate to their body first, because out here it's body first and mind later.
Yeah.
And we're paying for it on levels that we can't recoup as fast.
That's right.
And we're passing the bill on to the next generation, because when we don't think, and that is not creative or conducive in our communities, then it becomes a way of life or normalcy to use your body first and your brain later. And that is why it is imperative that we uphold what has been transitioning from the inside and bring that university and that universal thinking to the outside, because it was on the outside first before it became the inside.
That's right.
And so, recapturing, almost arresting ourselves outside before we have to be inside. And I'm grateful these kings found their way back into the kingdom and back on the thrones.
Yes, indeed.
Because that means we can go sit down
Yes.
and take a break, okay?
And we
I
you
don't
do
want to
that.
be head of household, okay?
That's right.
Let me
That's right.
let me tell America that with their perversion. We don't want to be head of household. We want to sit down in the comfort and be the wisdom and the nurturer that we
Yes.
are.
Yeah.
See, when we nurture, we don't have to say anything. We just pass on the light, and we let the kings rise and cover like the sun. And that is what I feel today as we uphold our brothers in their kingdoms
Yes.
as we stand with them as queens. So
Yes,
thank you
indeed.
so kindly
Yes. And
for
may I-
taking your
Thank
place.
Can I add to your wisdom, sister?
But hey, we're here at the university.
Yes. So one of the things that we have to learn how to do is inside and out is how to deal with stress healthily. Can I say
Yes.
healthily? A healthy way of dealing with
Healthfully,
stress.
right.
Let me
We got you,
rephrase it
brother.
like that. A healthy way of dealing with stress.
We've created a few words out here already.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, and that's one of our big issues. Like even if it's like in the junk, you got multiple ways you can deal with stress of being incarcerated. You can play board games all day. Right? You can watch TV all day. Right? You can partake in the little stuff that they get in, and drink and all that. Just play basketball. You can do all that just to escape from the reality for a second, because the reality coming back. Actually, reality never left. You're coming back to reality,
Reality,
right?
That's
You know what I'm
good.
saying?
That's
So,
good.
or you can deal with it in a healthy way where you confront it, you dissect it, you analyze it. All right, so these are all the problems. These are all the situations that we're dealing with. All right, so what are the situations that we're dealing with that I can address and create some positive change to it? So out of all 10, I can, even though I'm behind these walls, I can fix this, I can change this, I can change that. So focus on what you can do in your circle of energy and influence, right? And even dealing with yourself. If you're feeling stressed, go work out. Don't go smoke, don't go drink, go work out. And then that translate over into society too, because a lot of times we go into our inner city and our hoods where, like Minnesota Avenue, right there by that McDonald's,
Where I live?
where I grew up at, it didn't used to be like that.
Wow.
Now it's like fourth world, right there in that park, because so many so much drugs and stuff. Like the third to the last time I came to see you, a guy had this OD at the bus stop, and he was just laying there, out, gone. It was one police car sitting there, and they had the yellow tape around him. He's dead. They got they're just waiting to come pick him up. And then, literally, the bus stop, street, McDonald's, 30 people.
Every
right
day.
there, just sitting there, high,
Every day.
talking, laughing. Wow, this guy's deceased right here.
Every day.
Right. But all of and it's like it's so much drugs out there, so much synthetic stuff, so much alcohol. We got 3 liquor stores in that one corner, like one right there. And so we have to figure out a healthy way to deal with the stress.
Yeah,
Because
that's good.
the reality of systemic isms and all this stuff that we're dealing with, we have to
Yes.
figure out a healthy way and not hiding behind a bottle, not hiding behind a joint, not hiding behind over appetite or whatever it is. We got to deal with it as mature human beings, as men. You know what I'm saying? We confront problems. We confront situations and we figure out solutions. Every problem has a solution.
Yes.
Or as Bob Marley would say, there's no such thing as problems, only situations. Every situation has a solution
That's
to it.
good.
If you just put your mind on it, you can figure it out. But you
Thought
got to
was
put
the
your
cause of it all.
you got to put your righteous mind to it.
Yeah.
Your clear mind. You know what I'm saying? You got to clear it up. And that's a lot of this stuff is pumped into our communities.
Yes.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? And over time, once they pump so much of it into, they can just kind of like turn it on and it's on automatic pilot, man. But us as men, no matter how hard the task may be, we're charged with the task of fixing it.
That's true.
We're charged with the task because in reality, we're at here. You know what I'm saying? It's serious. We living in serious times.
That's right.
We're living in very serious times, and we're fighting for the existence of our future existence of our children and children's children.
Yeah.
It's very serious times. So we have to do it.
That's true.
That's that accountability I'm talking about.
Yes.
We have to do it.
course.
Starting with ourselves. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, y'all right on point with all that, because I will say this: there's so many distractions out here in the world that it do take sometimes isolating yourself. And even if you're already on the inside, sometimes you got to go in isolation in there to find, as you said, once you went to solitary. But how do we bring this same energy and how to engage in the world around us on the outside? Great segue. You was just speaking. You were just leading down that road. The civic engagement is how we bring your formula that you were speaking about, the true speech. We must demand honesty and transparency from our leaders on the outside. I
That's a
believe
must.
that.
Yes.
Accountability.
What leaders are you talking about?
Who are they?
First, we got to
Brother
identify
Kevin's-
some leaders.
Wait a minute, I'm laughing because Brother Assar rose up like the
Yeah.
still brother that he is to say, who are we?
Yeah, first we
Listen.
gotta identify.
Yeah, we gotta have clarity, right?
You better tell it, brother. Tell it.
And we speak on it on the show quite often. We the in the community, it's things in place in the community that we can utilize
Right.
for but we just got to get everybody on the same accord.
Yeah.
Unifying is important, and that brings me to accountability. We must hold the officials responsible for what they do or fail to do.
Yeah.
And Dr. Kim, she definitely she do her part for go ahead.
Yes, because that's interesting what you said as far as our public officials. Because as soon as you said it, I thought that don't automatically make them a leader.
No,
Because they're
right.
public officials.
Right.
That's
And I like
good.
what you said as far as holding them accountable, because that takes me to a conversation, that I had with the brilliant Dr. Kim the other day. I mean, she be on it so hard. And she was just expressing to me as far as the connection that, me, you, and herself has with the community. Like, we're right there with them. We're close to the community, which is what the public officials are supposed to do.
Right,
So,
right.
basically what she was recommending me is what we had to start doing is holding them to task with. Is what you're talking about.
Yes.
Holding them accountable. Sit down, talk with them, letting them know exactly what it is that we need in our community,
Right.
and with them being representatives for them to make it happen.
Make
So
it happen.
I just
That's it,
think
yeah.
that everything basically that we're building on
Yes.
is right on point, brother.
Yeah.
Yes,
That's
it
right.
is.
Yeah, well, you get me right into the question, and it's because we know knowledge of self is the foundation of
Everything.
there we go.
Yes.
There we go. But how do from a grassroots perspective, because the youth, we need to start. The youth is very important, because if they start getting the knowledge of self now, they won't have to wait till they and
Yeah.
you hate to keep going back to it, but because we're not glorifying it, we're just talking about
Yeah.
sometimes it takes
Yeah.
that time. You got to change your people, places, and things to
Yeah.
make a change in yourself. But before they have to go to the inside, we want to deal with the youth now.
Yeah.
So from a grassroots perspective, what kind of programs do you see being effective in our communities? To help.
So I think that a number of different things. For one, programs for our youth. First and foremost, I think that we as masterminds, come up with some strategies, some plans to actually assertively go out there into our community and go to our youth and speak to them and mentor them and all these things. I'm talking about the youth in the hood.
Oh yeah.
That's what I'm talking about. The youth in the inner cities that really need it. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about going into the belly of the, into the fire, into the pit, into the Minnesota avenues, and you know what I'm saying? And you might can pull one out of the 50 or whatever. But like back in the days, you seen that old, they get up on the back in the days, like in the 50s and the 60s. You ever seen the movie Malcolm X? And how back then the nation, they'd come outside with a ladder and a bullhorn.
Yeah.
And
That's
people be
right.
gathering around.
Right.
I think we
That's
really
right.
need to get back to that.
Absolutely.
I think we really need all the different respective communities, whether it's the Moors, whether it's the Rastas, whether it's the Christian community, the Sunni community, or Comedian community. All of us should have our own little spots in those communities, and just pushing that information, pushing that knowledge. The second thing I think is that I know we need trades.
Yes.
We need trades. Like, we need skills.
Uh-huh.
And we need to encourage our youth to learn some type of skills.
Yes.
Plumbing, HVAC, electrician, carpentry. All these particular skills are actually science
Yes.
that's needed to run a nation.
That's right.
Of course.
We can't be in here without electricity, right? Plumbing, right? HVAC. You know what I'm saying? That's an HVAC apparatus right there, right? We need these things, no matter where you go at on the planet.
That's right.
And we need to, and we need these things to be self-sufficient, autonomous. Rolling out also, I think, is really important too. It's dealing with mental health, mental education, because these drugs. See, listen, when we at it, man, I'm gonna keep it real. We are at war, bro. I'm just keep it real, and I don't want to. Yeah, I don't want to get too. You know what I'm saying? I don't get no senses and all that. But that's what it is, bro. And the bio, and on multiple different levels.
Let go, bro.
But I'm just gonna talk about the biochemical, the biological chemical warfare that's waged against us, and that we're participating in against our own selves. Man, they got one hit a quit of drugs out there.
Oh, yeah.
They got some shit that you'll smoke one time, you'll never be in your right mind again. Like, it's serious.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. All right.
Oh,
All right.
okay. So, yeah.
No curse.
That's it.
Yeah,
Right.
but they got some stuff out there like and synthetic stuff that people out there smoking, and one time they lunch out and they never be right again. This is serious.
Very
I'm talking about our
serious.
kids. I'm talking about
Oh yeah.
15, 16, 17-year-olds 14, out here smoking this synthetic cheap stuff. $15 for an ounce, something like that. And they call it boot or what's that stuff? Remember we was in Bennettsville and they
Boat.
was
K2.
K2, they was
K2.
smuggling
Yeah.
that in there, and people were lunching out on the yard and thinking they on fire and you know,
Swimming
like,
across
yeah,
the
yeah,
day
get the
room.
whole institution locked down. Like, you know, man, I had to go to the chapel, man. I was just going to go to the study group. You did that, locked the whole yard down, that crazy stuff. Like, you know, but it's an epidemic out there. They got some stuff now that there's some of them using that it's a little strip or something. And you can put it on your tongue, on your
Suboxone.
eye, or something like that.
In the box.
And oh my, it's serious though. But these are forever chemicals.
Yeah. Can I just say
Please.
to my brother Cypher Dean, you know, I'm hearing you talk about the needs of the people and the young people, and because we have not laid the proper foundation, our children are picking up the wrong tool first. When they should be picking up the gun last. The gun is for protection. But what are you protecting? You don't even have anything.
Exactly.
So you don't have the tools to build anything. If you had the trades would teach you how to build. Then you have a right to protect. But you have children that are trying to protect something that they don't have. So now they steal cars that they never built and rob houses they never paid a mortgage on.
Exactly.
And so when I don't often look as a school teacher, I've not looked at the children as the issue. I say, where are our elders?
The parents.
Where are our elders? Where are our parents to build? And I'll go back to Christianity. I'll go back to just a simple story called Joseph and Mary. Now, according to the Bible, Joseph was not the biological father. But God himself made sure that Mary had a baby daddy. He had an example of what it was to work and have a trade before Jesus even got here. See,
Yes.
we have children that are here with no representation. If God himself put a person in place before Jesus got here, no matter if it was biological or not, how do we have all these young boys running around here with no representation? Come on. Because not only did Joseph have the goods, we're not talking about sexual goods, because that was not even needed in this process. We're talking about physical trades. And our communities are deficient in showing our boys how to have the right tools, so they're picking up, by default, the wrong tools.
Can I add to that?
You
Because
bet.
that was
nice,
it.
Dr. Kim.
That was incredible, Dr. Kim, and right on point, right? Because and Brother Cypher Dean too, talking about the trades, right? And basically the question was as far as, programs for our youth, right?
Yes.
And we've been partnered with Shaw University the last 5 years, and I
Yes.
spoke with Dr. Liverman the other day, and so we're preparing, for January to take the students, pre-K all the way up to 12th grade on Shaw University for
That's
after-school program and literacy, and also they're going to be assisting us on our Saturday rites of passage program, which basically is where we focus on, educating and teaching our children the knowledge of self, and also teaching them the values and principles of Maya. And one of the things that me and Dr. Liverman discuss is, educational field trips. And as far as, trade skills and trades, we are very skilled as a people. And we have a lot of trades, right? But we understand the intentionality, behind the system.
That's right.
To discourage us, from getting on a path of success as a community. That's why we have all the distractions in our community. Not making no excuse. Because like Brother Cypher Dean spoke on earlier, accountability. We have to be accountable, right?
Right.
But the one thing it took us, and this is why I put, KCSSU together while I was on the inside. Because, I thought to myself, it shouldn't take to have to come to prison to learn who we are as a people, right? So let's give our brothers and sisters the opportunity by presenting the truth,
That's
right?
good.
As far as who we are as a people,
That's right.
our history, our culture, we do Sankofa, and one of the challenges that we suffer from because, what's going on in our communities is because we got to get more adults involved in
Yes.
understanding the value of the knowledge of self and who we are. because sometimes people, they are intentionally not want to understand our history because they feel like they benefit from a current system that's oppressing us
That's right.
as a whole. Well, we
Yes.
really never even acquire any type of power. We're just here existing. And power has to be our goal as a people. Dr. John Henry Clark has said that the main purpose of education has to be how to manage power, how to attain and manage power. And once we start understanding that as a people, right, and then a lot of these programs won't be necessary because it will be within the very fabric of our homes and society.
That's good.
Right? But of course, I got to give a shout out, to my Jegna, Baba Akmos, who was here last week
Yes.
when, the question was asked to him, and he said, well, we've done a lot of marching. Instead of marching, we need to get in the classroom. We need to start learning. Next, I'm really looking forward to next week. We'll have a really good show, and I was basically going over some stuff, and it was just talking about how the masses of people are being distracted by, social media, artificial intelligence, and things of that
Yes.
nature, right? That's really distracting us, and really that will keep us from having the knowledge of self. So I think that, what Baba Akmo said was so important because, when we can sit down together and learn together the same way we did while we all was incarcerated and build together. And really, it don't even have to be in the classroom all the time. It can be outside in nature because nature teaches us everything we need to know.
That's good.
But I think the most important thing is, what we suffer from is, and I always go back to what Kwame Ture said. Some people joined the movement to join the system, and some people joined it to overthrow and create a whole new system.
Yes. Yes. All right.
Let me give a special shout out to my Jagna brother Asar
Yes, that was good.
because he keeps me studying
Thank you.
while out here on the outside right
Yes.
now, or
Yes.
or I'll be into the distractions, different from the ones I was once in when I was a teen,
Yes,
when I
sir.
was in my youthful years. But I'll still be distracted with just working and running around doing things for everyone else all the time.
Yes,
But
sir.
he keeps me, grounded and studying too, because that's still needed at this time. It
Yes,
never
indeed.
stops. Knowledge is
Yes.
infinite.
Yes.
And as he was saying, we don't have to always be in the classroom. Dr. Kim says multiple times that we need to be outside in that sunlight
Yes,
anyway.
Right, yeah.
So, but yeah, well, anybody else wanted to add on? I'm sorry.
Yeah, I want to add. I wanted to add to that too as well. And it just thought just keep popping in my mind. So, anybody familiar with Dr. Amos Wilson?
Of
Oh,
course.
yes.
Yeah. So this quote that he has, right? And he says this. He says, to manipulate. What did he say? I don't want to misquote the brother. To manipulate history, right? Is to manipulate consciousness.
Ooh.
That's right.
Oh.
Then he goes on to say,
Oh.
to manipulate consciousness of people's consciousness is to manipulate their possibilities. And then he goes on to say, to manipulate a people's possibility is to manipulate their power.
Okay.
That's
Right?
good.
So when we dealing with the retractment of all the stuff that the current administration is doing and dealing with the educational system and so-called or fight against woke, which woke has been co-opted by some other stuff now because it originally started out as something else. Now
Yeah.
people done joined on to it and then tainted it, and then it's it's not really about really waking people up, right?
Right.
For truth, justice, and righteousness. But it's more so about other little political stuff that keeps you distracted from the bigger issues. So to manipulate history
It's good.
is to manipulate your consciousness, and that's what it is. It's a big play to manipulate the conscience. This is why they want to get control over the public educational system again and
Right.
control those curriculums.
It's true.
Yes, sir.
Absolutely.
It's their concern is about money for a certain demographic. That's it. They don't want people to be educated.
Right.
They
right.
want them to be workers,
Oh yeah.
right? So now that I have 2 grandsons, there will be 2
Good talk.
next month.
I want to talk about it.
My daughter already has started to be focused on giving them knowledge of self.
Mm-hmm.
And these are things that my immediate ancestors, they were encouraging and things of that nature, but they were more so preparing me to be in the the world as a worker and stuff like that. But the earlier that we are able to start with the children, like I'm mentoring a 21-year-old. He just turned 21 2 days ago. So I'm teaching him HVAC, plumbing,
Good job.
and water mitigation, things that he can do. I'm going out to do jobs I don't even want to do, but I'm going so I can teach him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So anytime I get to interface with a younger person, it's regardless of their age, I'm thinking about them in their greatest potential, regardless of how they're acting or whatever is going on. Somebody has to be there to encourage them and make them aware of who they are.
Yes.
So they can be at their greatest potential. So I think the earlier that we jump in there,
Yeah.
the better.
Yeah.
Yeah, if I can, I would like to just state something. And I had mentioned it to you, brother Essence, about brother Exodus, right?
Yeah.
And just how talented the brother is, right? Because like I say, he was my next door neighbor for some years, and he would teach the Spanish brothers English.
Yeah.
And then he would teach the brothers who spoke English Spanish.
Come
right?
on,
So,
brother. Come
so
on,
he's
brother.
making money both
Come on,
ways.
King.
He also,
That's all right.
he also sold. He would make money sewing. He also was an artist.
Yeah.
He would draw. And then he was also the head of the Rastafarians, right? And he still took the time out, to work out and build with me sometimes, his next door neighbor, just absolutely talented brother, awesome, very and very inspirational with his knowledge, and I never forget, one time because I hate to admit this, but sometimes when you picking up knowledge fast, it make you kind of proud, and one of the first things Pataho Tep said is don't be proud and arrogant in your knowledge, right?
That's good.
But I was just starting out, and I was kind of, I'm learning. And Brother Exodus asked me, he said, "You heard of Steve Biko?" And I said, "No." I said, "He probably ain't heard of me neither." and then Brother Exodus said, "The brother's passed." And I said, "Oh, Then he told me who he was. Yeah. And this was the first time I heard the quote. Brother Exodus told me. Stephen Biko said that the most potent weapon in the hands of the oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. Hallelujah. And I never forget it. Right. And so I looked up Stephen Biko. I be studying Stephen Biko, and we just, I just think that, running into brothers like, Brother Exodus and Brother Cypher Dean is very inspiring and encouraging. Yeah. And that's why a lot of times, I've heard people look down on people who've been incarcerated and had challenges in life, and I'd be like, well, they really, they just going off of, what they've heard, but not what they've experienced. Exactly. Because you would know neither one of us, and even yourself, Brother Essence, had been locked up unless we, tell you.
Right.
You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So, I just want to, let people know that these brothers, they humble, but they got all kinds of talents. Like he say, he mentoring in HVAC, out here making money. Brother Cypher Dean, he drives for a living all over, the country. And I think that, it just shows what we can do, right? And what freedom looks like when we start to transform our mind. Yes. Because, Dr. Amos Wilson, and I had started studying him a long time ago on the inside. He said that the wealth of a people is in their mind.
Yeah.
That's right.
You know what I mean? And stuff. And really, we always go back, to our teachings as far as the 10 virtues of initiate. And the first one is control your thoughts.
That's good.
Right? Yeah. And then, number 10, right? Have the ability to distinguish the real from the unreal, right? And the reason I put them two together, because lately when I've been, building with Baba Akmos, I always go to number 1, and he keep going to number 10. Yeah. And I'm looking at that connection, right? Because when we're talking about deep thought, deep African thought, we have to be able to understand what's real and what's not real.
That's good.
And that's why when we talk about artificial intelligence, we have to understand human intelligence cannot be replaced. And that's the one thing that I feel like, when we're talking about our youth as well, because now they're so gravitated to technology, right, that they're not taking the time to basically, read as much as, we did in the past, because it's nothing like, the physical reading within itself.
That's true.
Yeah. Taking that time to really train up your mind.
Yeah.
That's
Sharpen your mind. Like your your brain can be like you can control your where you want to go at, your consciousness, your mentality. You can control that. Because your mind, that's something that up and coming book that I got coming out too, right?
Okay.
But one of the things I discuss and point out, and even in Bennettsville, Lewisburg and stuff, we used to have ACE classes, which is adult continuing education classes. We volunteered our time to come up there to teach for free. It's cool. I love doing it, right? And one of the things that I had when one of the classes I was teaching was dealing with the science of the mind. And one of the things I always point out is your mind is like a sponge, a dry sponge. It's going to absorb information consciously and subconsciously, automatic.
Right.
Whether you put that information in front of your mind or somebody else put that information in front of your mind. Or it just happened just to float by in front of your mind.
That's good.
Right.
So if you understand how the mind actually works and it's going to act like a sponge irregardlessly, then you need to be in control of what you put in front of your mind.
That's true.
Right?
Right.
So we got to get back to training our mind. Even with like one of the things that I did, which was most important for me in elevating myself, was guarding my ears, what I was listening to, but also changing what you watch.
That's good.
Oh, definitely.
Your programming.
Yeah.
That's why they call it programming.
That's true.
What type of programs you watch all day? Are you on TV all day? You know what I'm saying? If you're watching it, what are you watching? Are you watching Science Guy or are you watching
the Real Housewives.
So we gotta be conscious. First and foremost, we gotta understand it's important how we're programming ourselves.
That's true.
It's not insignificant.
That's true.
Right.
Oh, I'm just watching a little TV. No, man, listen. It's significant. It's important. You're feeding your mind that.
And everything, and not just, like you said, brother, watching our diet.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because if we don't watch it, we die from what we eat. And that's the word diet.
Diet.
Of course.
You die it. That is what's going to kill you if you let it in.
Right.
So we either have to watch what we consume and what we allow others to present to us.
Right.
Absolutely.
And that's an offense and defense strategy. And if we don't yield ourselves to training ourselves, we were supposed to get that training on ground zero from parents.
Right.
But they too may have been caught up in, we're looking at generational breakdowns in our communities. And so that transitions, and by the time we catch it, some of us are half gone.
Yeah.
Exactly.
By the time we actually catch these, these imps and wimps, isms and schisms that break us down over time, we lose our value, and then we have to work doubly hard to come back. And it's a glorious thing when we do, but look at how much time we have allowed to pass us by. So again, learning not only just to catch it fast, but also how to replace it immediately, because we lose a lot of ground and it takes forever. Just like this country, there's 400 years we've been beat, but people don't recognize that it's more than 400 years of slavery. Every day that you don't pay us back, we still suffer. So it's not 400 years of slavery, it's 400 plus years. And so I wore my T-shirt today because we're still being billed and taxed from the hate. It's not 400 years. It's every day you don't pay us back that we still have to fight on the other end to recoup the loss. And we're seeing it now, that bill being passed on to our children. because they don't know how to fight off what they're hearing, seeing, or consuming.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's
Real,
right. And
Let me.
real
Can,
quick.
can,
Doc-
go
I'm sorry.
ahead.
Real,
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, real quick, Dr. Kim. Then we get right back on track. What does the T-shirt say?
Okay, well, the T-shirt says 400 years stolen plus 400 billed. That means they're still billing us. I say stop the steal because that's what they say, and then I say and pay your bill. So until we are paid back,
That's right.
then we're still getting taxed. And now, great for us, some of us that are coming to consciousness, but that still does not negate the fact that they still owe. And they're still collecting on the debt that they still owe. And so we should be billing them double time. Nobody's created the invoice yet.
That's right.
Where is the invoice to America? Because we are still paying with our lives, we're paying with our health, we're paying with incarceration, and then they have a nerve to start stealing, not paying back, but stealing the history and doing and erasing it. Now
Yep.
that's bold.
Yep.
That's gangster.
Yeah.
I heard a gangster, but that's gangster.
They the biggest gangsters.
Yep.
Yeah.
I have a
400
question.
years stolen. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, I got a question for Dr. Kim.
Oh boy.
Right. Yeah. Because because the discussion here today is how do we get the true freedom,
Yes.
and freedom and liberation as well, right? And my question to Dr. Kim, because me and Dr. Kim had plenty of discussions about reparations,
Yes, we are.
right? And my question is, can we, as African descendants, African people, right? Can we truly experience true freedom and liberation where racism, institutional systemic racism, is still a everyday occurrence in the United States? And not only that, their refusal to pay us reparations, right? As long as they refuse to, they've acknowledged what they've done, but restore the damages, repair the damages through reparations, and cut out institutional and systemic racism. Can we be free as long as those things still are, in existence?
Well, I'll tell you this. I've just learned from four powerful brothers that said freedom is a state of mind. So I do believe that we can be free. Now, as far as making someone hold up to their end of the bargain, I believe that we can make them do that as well. Because sometimes I think the way we approach things is they've taught us how to ask permission. You don't ask
Yes.
if you owe me.
Yes.
You don't ask, can I have, because listen, they don't ask us. If we don't pay the light bill, they shut the lights off. And I think we're still asking for something that we should have had shut off. Even they say no taxation without representation. Technically, we should stop paying taxes because they don't represent us.
Yes.
And instead of us, holding them gangsta at gunpoint, we should have held them too and said, well, how about this? We just cut out our taxes, and then nobody wins because we don't get anything out of this.
Yeah.
And so we haven't learned yet how to go gangster back on that level.
Yeah.
They taught us how to, fight Pookie and Ray Ray and them, but they haven't taught us how to take that power of the pen and the power of the dollar and shut it down. Because our elders showed us during the Montgomery boycott, if you don't service us, we'll just, these are tactics we used in the 60s.
Yeah.
I don't understand how we have AI, 5G knowledge, and we still don't have no courage on how to shut down white supremacy. Okay, I'm gonna leave that part.
Yeah, but sister, you make a powerful point. And I was when you were saying that, I was thinking about that, and I was like, two things can be true at the same time.
Come on.
And yeah, we can have that true freedom at the same time. You still owe us.
That's right.
Not only you owe us for punitive damage because you're still
They don't have
messing
that
with us.
morality.
You're still interrupting us.
Right.
Because for real, if they just got out the way, right? We're gonna readjust and line back up the way that we supposed to be, and we're gonna fix it and we're gonna get back on. But we're always sabotaged.
That's right.
We're always being interrupted, and that we got to understand that we have to know that the sabotage and the interruption is coming. So we have to prepare the appropriate defense for that.
That's
You know what I'm
right.
saying? So, because a lot of times we think, okay, well, we back and we're just going to build this, and we're going to rebuild Wall Street, whatever. But at the same time, in your strategy, you got to understand that you got people out there that don't want you to have that because they envy you
That's right.
or they're afraid of you or whatever deceitful mindset that they have, that taken mindset, that ice age mindset. Like that's what it is, that ice culture mindset.
Yes.
You know, they want what you got instead of making it their own, instead of growing their own. You know, so we gotta understand we got to create a defense behind that and protecting ourselves and protecting the planet, because as we
Oh, wow.
elevate into our righteous selves,
Come on, brother.
we're feeding the planet.
Brother.
We're giving life to the planet, not only to us but even to them.
Leave it alone.
We're helping them. We helping the whole planet. We helping the trees. We helping the water. We helping the
All
birds, the
creation.
insects. All the creation.
Yes, sir.
Is waiting on us to step back into our divine purpose.
Now, see, he touching a point because my organization is called Save Our Sons, and I won't going to talk about it, but the sons of God comes out of Romans 8:19, and he says, the whole earth groans and travaileth, waiting for the manifestation of the sons. We are, as the original people, as Brother Kevin Osar would say, as the original people, we are not just to cover ourselves, we are to cover all creation.
Right.
We are the preservation salt of the earth
right.
that makes sure that this globe functions in the manner that it should. So we should never be in survival mode.
Exactly.
We should be in preservation mode, because we have to pass this on to the generations and the generations to come.
right.
And we should do it gleefully. There should be no discrepancy in the way that this is done.
Yeah.
And nor should anybody have a license or a right to exploit the earth. It doesn't belong to
That's
you.
right.
Right.
That's right.
They got it
Okay.
confused.
That's right.
They got, listen.
Oh, yeah.
And I didn't mean to, I never mean to cut you, but
Go, brother. Go. You're in.
the morality of the original people is something that is absent from the individuals that are in power, in power in their creation.
That's
The word, the country, the laws, this and that and the other. The moral fiber of those individuals is corrupted. Like, they are not Delta 9 beings, right? They are not. They are the derivative of the original people.
Okay.
And what they lack is that moral fiber. And because they lack it, they think that anything that we get, that we're going to be like them. But they don't realize that we are not like them.
Right.
Right. So that's one of the challenges that we face in this country, right? In this
That's true.
country, because the people who are in power lack the morality. Like you were saying about, you were speaking about what a non-ether being would be thinking about, which would be the most important thing, the mother and fathers of civilization. They don't think like that.
No.
They don't think like that. They don't have it. What they want to have, they cannot get, which is melanin deficient, right?
Yeah, they don't have no.
And they'll never be able to attain that. So they're just trying to
No.
preserve what
Right.
they created at any means.
They really
And
is.
it just seeps out from here.
Yeah.
You could just be just as wrong as wrong. Like right now.
Uh-oh.
The Constitution of the United States of America, I think, is a great document if it's enforced across the board. Across the board. There should be not 2 million people incarcerated under the same Constitution, and then just the blatant disrespect for the Constitution every day. It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
Right.
And it's all based on how much melanin you have. It is. At the end of the day, they're protecting pedos.
Yay.
They're protecting. He's letting pedophiles out of prison.
I'm going to take off my earphones because my ears is too sensitive.
It's just a blatant. So trying to make sense of it is
Yeah,
it doesn't
Their whole thing is their whole mentality is anti-nature.
anti-nature.
And when I say they, and I don't mean all, but
No.
See, when
Those
you're dealing
that
with,
fall in that
and that's
category,
another thing.
right.
Well, no, it's systemic racism.
It's systemic, but
yeah, it's a system.
It's a
It
mental
ain't-
a
we-
illness,
system.
but it's
right.
also a mental illness.
it's a mental
Yeah.
illness.
Yeah, right.
And the
It's a
reason
mental illness.
It's
It is.
definitely a mental
Yes.
illness because first of all, anything that you can't control, you fear, which means you're not superior, you're inferior.
Exactly.
And you live in fear constantly.
Yeah.
So you can't learn from anybody that you are in fear of
Yeah.
because you're too busy trying to combat them.
Yeah.
As brothers in this human genome, as we were taught by Baba Assad.
Baba,
Please help me
Yeah.
out now because these names help me. But I want to give honor to whom honor is due.
yeah.
It has taught us that love is the ultimate power.
Exactly.
So if you're not trying to attain that, I was listening as the brother was, as you all give each other accolades, how powerful it is to hear that I'm not intimidated by you, so I'll teach you my language and I will willingly learn yours. And I will trade off so that we all can have the goods.
Exactly.
Come on, because it's enough for everybody.
Right.
Last I checked, there is really no sense for even starvation when the Father gave us one seed, told us to plant it, and then comes an apple tree. So how you starving? It must be something human that interrupted
It
your.
interfered.
Okay, it interfered because the Father gave us plenty, and so anytime you engineer starvation. Just so you can have control of your population, then I might be rapping here. Okay.
No, that's serious.
That's serious right there.
That's
it's a
called a
mental illness.
mental illness.
It's a mental
Already
illness.
no
Okay, I'm
snap,
gonna back up.
It's a mental
no
illness.
Snap,
Yes.
no November
Yeah.
because the government is shut down.
No.
There may not be SNAP, Link, or any of these food assistance programs for the population. While these people are making $175,000 a year sitting in the office on Capitol Hill.
That's
Yeah.
And billions of dollars in backdoor deals.
And backdoor
on-
deals out the
on
way. But the
NASDAQ
general
and
people,
stuff. Yeah.
they going to go use their little SNAP card. There's nothing going to be on it.
Yeah.
And they're scared of, and what you hear is that I am going to replace myself as God
Yeah.
because God will feed his children. You cannot talk about being a Christian and deliberately starve somebody. But this is not new because if we go back in history, it'll show you that they slaughtered the buffalo, not because they were hungry, but to keep others from eating. Not just eating, not just having SNAP, but having clothes and shelter and spirituality. Because remember, they trusted the buffalo
Yep.
as a form of spirituality. So again, to be thankful for the God that gave them provision. So we're talking about a race of people who are so, there is no way that you can say you're Christ-like or even close if your policy represents SNAP. Okay, I'm sorry. Cut off her food. Nor can you talk about that you are against abortion when you're about to slay how many people on earth from
Right.
eating.
It-
Okay.
It's all
Okay.
hypocrisy.
It's all hypocrisy.
a show.
Yeah, exactly. And
I
you
thought we
got
was talking about
so
knowledge
much
yourself.
bloodshed on your
sorry.
hands. It's a mental illness. It's
From the
literally
beginning.
It is.
a mental illness. And this ideology of white supremacy, racism, it's created out of mental illness. And not saying that all of them are like that, or all white people are racist. Not saying that at all. But the ideology of white supremacy, it's an ideology first and foremost, and it's a mental illness, and it's anti-nature. It's not only anti-black, it's anti-nature.
Yes.
They hunt for sport. You know what I'm saying? That just to kill. Where the indigenous man, the aboriginal man, if and when they did hunt, everything was used, and it was done in a certain way. The kill had to be done in a certain way. You know what I'm saying? You had to pray over the food. You had to you couldn't do anything in excess. You know what I'm saying? You don't even in ancient Comedian principles. I was just reading this early. I was reading this a couple of days ago, dealing with the principles. The brother Tahuti said that our ancient ancestor Tahuti in short word, he said that don't go out into the world causing harm to anything, not unless it's absolutely necessary.
That's right.
So it's not only talking about from people to people. It's even talking about the plants. It's even talking about the ocean. It's even talking about the animals. King Solomon said, it was in the Bible, he was walking one day, right? And Solomon had the gift to speak to the animals, the jinns, the spirits, and control the spirits. He's dealing with magic and all that stuff, right? And he was walking. He was on this walk in the Bible, and he came upon a pile of ants. This is the story is in the Quran. And the ants started yelling at each other, "Hey, get out the way! He's gonna step on us. He's gonna kill her." And Solomon had the gift to hear what they were saying. He was like, "No, I'm not about to step on y'all. I see you. I'm gonna walk around you." You know, so we have to walk with that same consciousness of we're not walking the earth to cause harm to anything unnecessarily.
That's right.
At all. Not even we not cutting down a tree now unless we absolutely have to. It's imposing
right.
upon the house.
Oh God.
You know, that's the spirit of us. That's the true spirit. This is the spirit that the earth, that the planet needs. You know, and the spirit that's leading the planet now is destroying everything. It's a cancer.
Yeah.
And after they destroy it, then they, with some kind of reasoning, say we'll put it back. I've seen them wipe out entire neighborhoods and then offer you to plant a tree. I said, you just wiped out the whole neighborhood. Then ask me what kind of tree would I like to plant in my front yard.
The hypocrisy
Oh.
is mind-boggling.
And probably a male tree
Absolutely.
at that. Something that don't grow fruit.
So,
like,
The
yeah.
hypocrisy is mind-boggling.
like you can go to other
It
countries, especially in the Caribbeans and stuff, and their trees, they got fruit that grow along the streets. Like that. You just
Yeah.
pluck it right from the
Just
yeah.
eat walking down the street. Yeah.
But we got so many male trees. It's like it's an imbalance. Like, and
Well-
it's by design.
Well, brother, that's why I go. It's by design, because if we can just pick the food off, and once upon a time we had food even on this soil over here of the United States, with food growing naturally like that. But now, how can you capitalize off it if you
It's good.
let it grow like that? And you know, brother was talking about something about around this DC, Washington DC area. I wanted to go over there, but I want to say something real quick because y'all was making a lot of major points through and throughout. We all bound on one cord. We want to remember that, and we also, it's never too early to start teaching. My grandson is about 8-9 months old right now, and every time I got him, and I keep him about 3 to 4 times a week. Every time I got him, I try to read at least a paragraph to him every
That's
time,
good.
every day. So
It's good.
Oh, man.
but yeah, so it's more than just politics. This is a policy that's going on out there. So you see out there in DC, the president bringing in the National Guard and federalizing the police force and all this. I want to, briefly, let's
Okay.
let's talk about what's going on out there.
Well, me and my brother both are native Washingtonians. He's over the road, but I'm there most of the time. And I saw the National Guard deployed. See, we've already had that issue because D.C. is not a state. It is a federal territory.
Talk about it, brother.
Exactly.
So it is just like Puerto Rico, the Marshall Islands. It is a territory of the United States within the United States. So we never, it's not a state. So that's why it was easy for the administration to do these things, because it is the hub of the federal government.
That's good.
So I've seen the National Guard out and about in my travels, and these are young people, right? And they're really not on it. They don't want to be there, right? They don't want to be doing it. Now, as far as ICE, the ATF, the DEA,
FBI.
Park Police, and Metropolitan. Now they've always been around, but they've just been more concerted and doing more profiling, right? Because they have made it legal to profile you,
Tell her.
right? Based on the Supreme Court
Brother.
has held that they can racially profile you now, right? So now that's where we go to the application of the law. Again, the Constitution is a great document, only if it's applied to everybody.
That's right.
When it's only applied to this group over here, that's what causes problems. So, but if you are moving about in DC, it's really not much change. If you are riding and you know you ain't got no your tag's dead and this blinker don't work and stuff like that, they are going to pull you over. They are going to go through everything in there, and they have all the resources of each agency at their disposal. They're trying to put some people in. They're trying to build some prisons and make some more money.
Right.
That's what they're trying to do. So that's what's going on in there. I've seen the National Guard outside, M16s and stuff, just standing around. They're not doing anything
So
because
they
most of the people who were or doing a whole bunch of stuff, they just fell back.
So they just promoting fear,
Listen,
intimidation.
all of the
tactics.
red states have higher crime than Mississippi, Alabama, Birmingham. All these places have more violent crime than DC.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, but they are promoting.
Yeah.
They trying to justify, right?
That's
Justify to the people, to the
Yeah.
masses, that I'm going to clean up these cities. I'm going to clean
Yeah.
up Chicago. Look at the numbers. Where those resources really need to go. Look at the numbers, not what somebody said. What are the
Right.
numbers?
That's right.
Right. So that's what's going on. It is to cause division, right, and to further divide the people by trying to paint a picture that Democratic run, which you can always say, high concentrations of peoples of color
Right.
are the problem,
All the problem.
Right.
We are
and that's not even
color means
consistent
criminal.
with
Right.
the Democrat. It's not even consistent with the numbers, right? Not even because it is all propaganda for his base
Right.
Yeah.
to keep them, because they losing. How are you gonna be a soybean farmer, right? You've already stole the land.
Okay.
You got generational wealth because of the land.
Tell it.
Now you out here supporting this clown, and he giving $40 billion to somebody else. He bailing them out. $40 billion.
Argentina, yeah.
Argentina.
How you bailing them
we talking
out?
about we ain't
And
got no
you got
money, but you got 40 billion for Argentina.
Yeah, you got $40 billion for Argentina, but you don't even have. You are crushing taking the land, and then the old boy is buying up all of the farmland. He's already a billionaire, but he want to take your little farm too. He gonna take your little farm and your little farm and try to consolidate it where they can just get some money.
Feudalism too.
Yeah.
That's that old
Feudalism.
age old tactic.
Oh, wow.
If you get into I don't like saying European, but if you get into for lack of better words,
Troglodyte. Excuse me.
you get into their history, like the Caucasian history or Anglo history, before they even came to before 1619, when they was over there with themselves, they were oppressing themselves.
It's true.
I know my earphone went out. I don't know if that's maybe the mic went out or not. I don't know, but I know the earphone is out.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
but
I'm not all that
is the
sad.
mic still hot? Cause I can.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
yeah,
can-
we
I can
still
hear you.
good.
Yeah,
Okay.
we
Still
hear you.
hot.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So, what did I stop at?
You were talking about
Feudalism.
Feudalism. Yeah. So when we
They were
looking at
oppressing
history,
themselves,
the same set of system that they actually imposing on black and brown people right now is what they was doing against themselves over there. Yet they divided each other between Brits and Franks and Irish and Italian and German and stuff like that, and based upon where you feel at in these tribes, determine your status within that whole land. You know what I'm saying? And as you know, the Irish and then the Germans and all that stuff, the Brits supposed to have been the top dogs.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? They supposed to have been better than everybody else, then the Franks and then this and that. And they was oppressing people like that. Their own people. You know? And feudalism was about, because you had a few 3%, 5% of rich aristocrats or rich barons, rich kings that owned all the land, right? Where 95% of the people didn't own any land, but you owned the land. So since you own my land, then you got to farm for me. and then you got to pay these taxes because you're on my land. But there's no other place you can go at. Because if you go from France to Britain, then you're on somebody else's land. You go from Britain to Ireland, you're on somebody else's land. So it's always going to be a tax imposed upon you. You know what I'm saying? So this is, and so it was always a system set up to keep the rich rich. So they just brought that same system over here, and they said, you know what?
Yes.
Let's put the Anglos above the black and brown people. It's still the same system. They just added more people inside the system. But that same mentality has never changed. That same oppressive mentality has never changed. We don't have the mentality of naturally, we really, we do what we want to the land. We own the land. Like, the land is a part of us, and we are part of the land, for real.
That's true.
That's how it's supposed to be. The
So
land is
how we counter this type of oppression?
Education.
Education.
First and foremost.
Education. Yes.
You know,
Know thyself.
that's
And it can't be just inside of their education. Cannot start in their institution.
It cannot.
It
has to start at home.
It has to start at home, and then it has to go abroad, and it has to be on a larger vocal scale. You know, we almost have to declare it like war, revolution. We have to declare the truth as the ultimate education.
It is.
Because education is just not about knowledge; it's about application.
Yeah.
And so
That's right.
the issue is that we sit in these classrooms and really not get educated, but indoctrinated.
Yes.
And then when we go to the quote unquote higher learning institutions, they tell us in order to survive, you have to apply what we taught you, which is division, more isolation, and so more trauma.
More trauma.
We can't even bring any of what we learned back to our communities unless we're doing their bidding.
Yeah.
So that is why we know it's not productive, because none of our communities are healthy. We're just existing.
That's right. That's right. And the planet isn't even healthy.
It's
the
true.
planet isn't even healthy.
Not right now.
You know?
Right.
We are awakening and fighting for the survival of the whole entire planet
That's true.
in reality. Because, I ain't gonna get into all that. I ain't gonna get into all that. I ain't gonna take it down.
Well, I think what brother Asar and many of what you all are saying about knowing thyself puts the challenge back on the table.
That's right.
It says that we are now placed back in our contender's position to bring about the truth that we need to deliver all creation, because they're waiting for the champions to come up against this lie.
Yeah.
This lie is how we die
Yeah.
if we don't comply. Go ahead.
The counter, and this is one thing that I'm constantly being taught by my Jigna, is to understand that for every counter, there's a counter.
That's good.
Right. Every time that we counter what they're doing, we have to understand that they're trying to counter whatever we do. Just like what we did in Tulsa.
Right.
They countered that with bombs, right? In Wilmington. It's always a counter.
Yes.
Right? Sometimes it's a counter just to confuse.
Yeah.
Right. So when we're aware of, their actions and their counters, we have to, in a sense, be 1,000 steps ahead. Because they've been ahead of us, and that's why they've been able to control and manipulate. So we got to, the brother was speaking on earlier, we've got to put protection on ourselves. And education, knowledge of self is one of the keys, but the knowledge of self in itself will not bring us liberation and power, which is what we have to seek. And it has to be intentional and deliberate, just like everything that's been done to us. So not only do we have to have a plan, but we have to have a plan within a plan within a plan. Understanding that every time we do something, they're going to counter, right? And we have to be ready for that counter and counter them. So we have to be 1,000 steps ahead, and that's through training the mind. The mind is trained through knowledge, right? But it has to be the right type of knowledge, because a lot of times we think just by sending our children to school and they making A's receiving knowledge that's not going to be beneficial to them.
Come on.
So they're being told that they're smart when really they're working against themselves, and that's what take place a lot of times, in these institutions of learning. And that's why,
Education.
yes, we have to take the responsibility
That's right.
ourselves to educate our children, educate, our community, and really find the authentic, genuine teachers, scholars, tradesmen, those with skills, so that we can work together and build together, because we are master builders. And once we start to
Yes.
understand that we are master builders, we'll start to create the way we need to create. The first thing we must build up is our minds and our spirits.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yes,
Good
that's
job.
right.
That's so true.
Yeah, well,
right.
the greatest revolution begins in the mind.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's right.
The thought was the cause of it all.
That's right.
Yes.
Being our own creation, like naming ourselves, being our own creation, controlling our narrative.
Yes.
We gotta control our. This is why what we're doing right here is so powerful, because
Yeah.
this is the opportunity to put back out there and control our narrative, to frame ourselves. Because if we don't frame ourselves, control our narrative, then other people will swoop in and try to put you in another narrative, which
Right.
is completely false and don't really represent who you really are.
It's true.
You know. So that and this is what they do. They try to criminalize us. They try to put this stigma on us.
That's true.
Of because we're melanated, we're violent. Because we're melanated, we're crime ridden. Because we're melanated, we're unintelligent. Because and if we sit back and not debunk all of this, then you will allow them to control the narrative of framing us, putting us in this wrong, jacked up picture frame, right? That they want us to fit in for their own political gain, globally.
That's right.
Globally. And the second thing, in dealing with the National Guards, right? I think that, and a couple brothers has mentioned it to me, because of the dwindling population of in the U.S. of of Caucasians and stuff like that. In order for a people that is of the minority to maintain power of the majority, they have to create what you call a police state,
Okay.
apartheid state.
Yeah.
The same thing in South Africa right now, right? You have to have like a military type of state in order for the minority to continue to maintain power over a majority, and it is super hard and almost it's impossible if the majority is conscious.
Right.
This is why they attacking the educational systems and stuff like that, because you control the consciousness, then you control the possibilities. You
That's
see what
true.
I'm saying? You control the history, then you control the consciousness. So they got a plan. Like,
Oh,
and it's
yeah.
up to us to counter that plan, and
That's
then they
right.
got another man counter that. But it's real.
They were very clear about it. They white Christian nationalists
Uh-oh.
are making a move to ensure their perception of their longevity. They are very clear about it. They didn't Project 2025. They wrote it out, 900 pages. I only had to read the chapters. I didn't have to go into detail.
To the content.
Yeah,
You
just-
left the content alone.
Yeah. But and the reason is that's why they want to reduce the age of consent for little white girls to 14,
What?
because
That's
I
true.
didn't even hear that.
Yes.
That's true.
they are putting
That's
in
crazy.
legislation.
I
Are
heard it
you
yesterday.
serious?
So they can cover their pedophiles.
Yeah, so they can,
Wow.
at the end of the day,
That was
create
new to me.
more white people.
Wow.
That's why they made abortions illegal. They don't care if your uncle impregnated you. You're going to carry that to term, or you're going to go to jail. Period. That's what they're on, right? The legal age of consent is 16 in a lot more states than I thought of.
Right.
But they really want it to be, they're pushing for it to be 14. Right?
Yeah, that's
That's true.
And we all know if you can't drive a car, why should you be carrying people? Well, you're not developed. You shouldn't even do that. But they are literally putting legislation, trying to push legislation to make it legal
It's sick.
to be with 14-year-olds. And it's for the express purpose of creating a larger population of them.
yeah,
They changed the laws. They killed Roe versus Wade. Why? Why does it matter? Oh, because we need more white people. We need to do that. That's what we need to do. And that's just the way it is. And nobody can tell me anything different.
And they have a theory for that. It's called the Great Replacement Theory.
Exactly.
They come up with their own ideologies behind many of the things. But I do want to clarify something. I know Brother Essence had asked me about the T-shirt, and it goes back to Brother Cypher Dean, who said perception, how they criminalize black. This T-shirt is really the launch for me and for many of our people on destroying the wrong perceptions.
Yes.
When I say 400 stolen, the 400 bill is from my grandson who was suspended this year. He was 12 years old, and a young boy from New York gave him e-vapes to sell at his school. He can't sell Kool-Aid, but he took it out of fear because this boy pushed it on 4 other children, and they suspended my grandson, and tried to push him into an alternative boys' school as a punishment. Well, we all know that e-vapes is nothing but the liquid form of tobacco. Mm-hmm. The very reason why black people are here in the first place. So my question is, you want to punish my grandson and banish him to baby prison, but what have you done to hold accountable those that for 400 years held us for that same plant?
You talking about priming tobacco?
Come on, brother. And against our will.
Right.
You bore children, talking about children. You made our women bear children so that they can populate the same plantation. So you're now and you tried to charge my grandson $400 to take the class that teaches you not to sell tobacco, e-vapes. So here we are passing. That's why I say you stop to steal. You pay your bill, because my grandson shouldn't even have to pay a bill that you owe him. You actually owe us.
They don't even, in their mind, everything that they do is justified. They mixing it in with their religion. They've been mixing it in with their religion. Right? They go to church and sell people at the same damn time.
Oh, wow.
Right.
Right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Same doggone time, right?
Yeah, right. You got
Speak
the
about
language,
public
but
mention.
we down to our final couple seconds here. So I hate to cut y'all off, and I wanted to get into, because freedom, the idea of true freedom without economics or cooperative economics is still an illusion. So I wanted to get there.
That's right.
But of course we ran out of time now, and we at our final hour, and I want to say thank y'all brothers for coming through.
Yes.
Hopefully we can have y'all through again, and we can finish the conversation, because it was still a lot I wanted to get to, man. It was great. Y'all got some wonderful minds.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it, and like I said, I learned something every time I'm here. Thank you, Dr. Kim and Brother Asar, as always.
Thanks for having us.
Yes, it was our pleasure.
Love the dialogue with y'all all the time, and I appreciate y'all, how y'all, treat me and how y'all hold me accountable.
Yes,
so
thank you.
Until next time, man, proper education always corrects error. Peace.
Peace.
Peace. Yes.